that they used to. So you're going to be getting a lot of creep waves low on the map, but not necessarily killing them yourself, which is a lot less gold, and you're still denying those creeps from your team. They're not going to be pushing into you because they're going to like instantly.
Yeah, but I would still say like in the early mid game, it just makes it a lot easier for you to play as a unit, as 5 as your team, you know, because you have someone that can always connect. So it's easy to play. I would say it's easy to play the early game. So in high level Dota, I think that matters a lot, you know.
It does. I'm just saying, if I had to hedge my bets on like what heroes are going to fall out of the meta, I would say that the stock in Nature's Prophet, I believe, will go down when we see, like, let's say, third day of group stages. Because I think now
it's not that day of group stage.
When we do see it, I think it's going to go down. I've seen some counters to it.
So tomorrow, you know, like yeah.
I mean, I definitely think.
I think tomorrow it'll be less valued.
I think support and potentially mid might get figured out, but I don't think there is a hard counter to the carry NP just because of how fast it can play.
Do you think the same as for the offlane MP? Like just side lane MP core in general?
No, just carry.
Just carry.
Okay. And I think that'll always have some value as long as you can build glide near BKB is one of your toolkit, which you can. And on top of it, you can farm fairly fast. And I don't think as a carry you have to rely on your ulti to farm. It's just kind of like an additional tool that most carries don't have that can help team fight. Whereas if you put in another role, it won't be. It's an interesting interpretation from Talon. Dragonite, it's a hero that I personally like in the carry role, the fire facet, but I don't think that's what they're going to do here. I feel like this is an answer to NP, just on either it follows it mid or the offlane, because it has high armor, and on top of it, if NP ever leaves, and you do go for the Poison Dragon, you can just take his tower, right? And kind of just punish the fact that he is rotating on the map. I feel like that's Talon's like read on this particular game, and how they want to address the Nature's Prophet. They knew they're going to pick it. This is the response that they had. That's a very fast lineup that Tundra is running.
Yeah, Enchantress, Tusk, and it is such an old school thing. Like you run around the map, your 6 minutes, your supports go to mid, they take the rune, and you have an NP that can TP to mid. So there'll be 4 heroes there, and they want to kill the tower at 7 minutes with the first catapult.
And I do think that DK, if he's in a side lane position, Tusk is one of the nicest heroes to play against it. He just does not have enough armor to survive through a tag team with 3 heroes hitting him.
Where has this, like, I'm going to say resurgence, even though this is the first game we've not only seen right now in our road to the International, but right now, Tusk is like, so I feel he's about to come back into meta and then all of a sudden just doesn't. So like what garners him being picked up right now, maybe outside of the DK, maybe something in his toolkit?
He kind of got like a couple of good quality of life changes with how the Lotus Orb interacts and the Lincolns interacted with the snowball. Because before you needed the you cast your snowball on a Lotus Orb target or Lincoln's hero, you need the snowball to connect on that hero before he procs the Lincolns or Lotus. But now it instantly breaks. So that's a big deal in the mid-late game team fights.
For Aghanim's Scepter kicking people back, you can instantly break the Lincoln.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't know they changed that. One thing that anybody who comes back to Dota after a year potentially of not playing or watching, and they see the Mirana, you might think that it's a support. It could be, but a lot of people are going for the Solar Flare facet, which gives you your whole team
feels like
damage and attack.
It's a carry here with Marcy. I think they're gonna run a Mirana.
Probably.
Marcy lane, and Mirana you can kill the Treant, you know, from
because you were saying Ponyo is melee position 5 player.
He loves playing melee here.
So he loves the Marcy. We've been seeing a lot of Mirana carry, although I do believe that what Mirana offers, she offers pretty nicely from the support positions as well, as long as you have heroes that benefit from the Solar Flare. But I love the overwhelming damage that this hero gives you, playing into the aura and like tank meta that people are doing.
Yeah, but the thing with Mirana carry, I feel like she's weak in the first couple of levels. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong about this, Clinton. Like, I feel like he gets abused in the early few waves.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the Mirana carry right now. I think the support role's a lot better. But yeah, your early stage isn't incredibly good. With Marcy, it might be good enough, but it's not like really good setup. I think it's a pretty strong lane overall, but I think if you do have a carry Mirana, it makes your lineup look a little bit strange here. But I don't think they have a choice, right? I think it kind of has to be the carry Mirana in this situation. But against Morphling, it's definitely not good. That's a matchup where Morphling will take control of the mid-late game. They're really going to have to snowball the game. But they do have a good lineup where they can group up. DK can really use the attack speed as well. Mirana does hit hard, but the only issue she has right now is you stun her once and she's just dead. Very, very squishy.
I mean, you have the SD to help you, I guess. I mean, the SD is also really good with DK. I mean, I love getting the Neo, the facet, you know, the promulgate. When you have a tanky hero on your team, I always do it. Like, he's going to go in and just going to cast my spell on him.
Yeah.
That plus a Solar Crest makes whatever hero you put that on like, immortal. It is so hard to deal with. And I love SD as a hero. We were talking before we went live, and I actually pick SD as my top contested support for both 4 and 5 in this tournament, just because not only does it allow you to like buff and save your team, it also counters the buffs and the saves that exist because of the SD ult purging. It purges Force Staff, purges Glimmer, it purges Solar Crest, Drum Buff, like all of these auras that people are building, minus Pipe because it's not purgeable.
I mean, the thing with SD this game, I feel like you're very vulnerable in the early game against Ench, Tusk, MP rotating around. I feel like you could die a lot in the early game.
Man, my question has just been, what's Thompson gonna play? He doesn't strike me as the Nature's Prophet type of guy.
He does play Nature's.
I mean, he does, but he hasn't played it recently. He's actually been playing a lot of Ricky.
I mean, what do you think their draft needs right now? Do they need like someone that can go in and
They need someone
initiate?
that can just play with the supports, I feel like. And Morph is going to farm a lot. NP can always come in. NP and Morph are going to take up most of the farm on the sides of the map. They need just a hero that can just run around with the Ench and the Tusk as a 3-man and just control like the runes, make side lane rotations, play really quickly here. They don't need like an Alchemist or something very greedy that we saw banned there. They want something Thompson to play very fast on. And NP could be it, but if it's Thompson going mid with NP, then we need something that plays fast in the off lane, which I don't think there's anything in the off lane here that really will lane well with a Tusk and also play fast. Maybe a Centaur potentially,
Centaur primal type of hero.
but Primal Tusk lane doesn't sound.
I mean, the lane is gonna be wonky regardless. I mean, if you want Tusk to be useful in the early game, you need like something like a range hero, like DP.
I mean, they could double down
I
and
was
just go
thinking
all the laning stage.
I was thinking of the DP as well, but I know
Visage.
SD
yeah,
is really strong.
Visage maybe.
I like Visage. I like Visage.
Yeah, because
I love how quickly Jenkins just turned his man. He's like, yep, no,
I
yeah,
think that-
Visage,
I think that
yeah,
hero-
Visage, yep.
I think that hero's.
I mean, to me,
genuinely
that's doubling
overpowered.
down. Like, if you want a well-balanced lineup here, you pick, like, I mean, he likes Ricky. I'm fine with that. You pick your Ember Spirits, some type of Spirit type of hero, or Rotator, these Tinies, Primals, whatever it might be. That makes you have a well-balanced lineup. But if you just want to go all in on the speed, then, yeah, you can pick a Visage, build the auras, TP around with NP. You've got a really fast lineup, but if you don't do well in laning stage, or you lose a team fight here and there, the game could get a little rough later, a bit down.
I just feel like all the heroes we're mentioning as like these ranged heroes are just Nature's Prophet
There you go. That's
replacements. So yeah, I like this. I like that they pick something.
They need something that can just move around the map with the supports that has some control. So
They completely lack team fight.
I mean, it's
as
also
well.
good against Mirana and
for
the team
this.
fights later with the arena. Can
Yeah.
block out a lot of the damage. I mean, the laning with Tusk is not the best, but it'll do.
Yeah, and against DK, to be fair as well. Like both of
they just have to survive. I think the
Right.
one thing you need to keep in mind is when you have like a mid NP, this guy can salvage any lane that he wants to. Like, you might not do the greatest in laning stage, but this guy is going to be level 6 at, 5 minutes
I mean,
into
that's the
game.
point of like the DK, right? You put the DK in mid, so every time he does that, you're gonna hit his tower.
Yeah, that's their answer, and unfortunately, the only way you're going to be able to mitigate that is you're going to have to rotate the Ench mid every time NP goes out. So there's definitely answers, and they definitely need to strategize like what they want to do here. And is it going to be, you can't just leave the lane completely open for DK. That's not going to work. So I think Ench has to rotate to the mid lane every single time that the NP TP's out, and then they can play really fast while defending their towers. And it's going to be very important that Morph gets off to good laning stage as well. We didn't talk about Morph at all, but this hero is incredibly cool right now and how people play it, but we'll see what Talon pick first before we get into that. And I feel like they need either a mid or an offlaner at this point.
Probably off lane, I think, right now.
It
Are you
makes no
happy with
sense.
Nakoda playing a Dragon Knight? I just don't know.
No.
He likes the slippery, like the pucks. The
Yeah.
spirits,
But
right?
you don't
That
want to
is
do
something-
DK off against Morph either, do you?
No, that
Yeah.
sounds
So
awful.
now you're in a tough position.
You need to pick an offlaner here.
Okay.
Ideally, a Zoo hero are the ones that are best against Morph or Underlord.
Decision. No,
Is Underlord banned?
is not no.
Ricky.
Wait.
Okay, this is a very strange
This is a
draft.
mid hero, probably.
Oh, they're using the mid tech against them. Okay. Thompson's been playing this one.
I mean, I feel like that draft looks so wonky right now.
It does.
I don't. If I'm
like it.
Nature's Prophet, and I see a Ricky picked against me mid. I'm kind of like, I mean, I'm just expecting free farm.
Yeah, you
right?
don't care. But then again, the Ricky doesn't care about the NP either.
Yeah, Rika is good against Morphling with the silence later.
Yes. But yeah, the way
That's-
people are playing Morph right now is pretty cool as well. He most of the times will buy a Vlad's, but you're just getting stats now. You get waveform, you get 1 point in your W, maybe 2 points in your shift,
and then you just get stats now because you get double the stats just because of his innate ability, and he gets very tanky and can join the fights much earlier. I really like what Tundra has going on here. I think that Morphling is their security into the late game. Same with the NP. They can play super fast. They've got the team fight control as well. Talon, their lineup isn't particularly bad either, but this Ricky, I feel like, has to do so much work in this game where this NP is just going to be everywhere, and he's going to be hard for him to fall.
Yeah, I feel like he has so much to do, and just looking at the heroes that Tundra have, he's going to have to deal with the MP TPing, he's going to have to deal with the Ench and the Tusk rotating to the side lanes, and their lanes itself are not particularly that strong, you know? So I feel like Tundra's lineup is just way easier to execute.
Here's a question. What facet is WS going to go for? Because the Frost Dragon is good against Morphling. Right, you have the healing reduction.
Yeah.
The Red Dragon, we talked about him being the true carry.
No Red Dragon, please.
He can go Red Dragon off lane, just absolutely ruin pubs, or he can go green, which is boring. It's just typical.
So
I'm going to take towers.
The Frost Dragon will be pretty good, but I think the green one will give them momentum, which they need.
We know what he's picked, right? He's
fire. He went fire.
At the last minute, he changed to fire.
All right, he's playing carry.
At the very last minute, he did swap to fire. I was waiting right until that. I was like, I'm going to wait for the locking because you can change it at any moment. But now you have an answer to your question, Jenkins. You guys have given your thoughts exactly on where you think this is going to go. Not too in favor of Talon right now. We're liking what Tundra have together. But either way, let's get on into our very first game of this group stage with our casters, MLP and John.
Oh, thank you so much. Now we are going to game number 1 between Talon and Tundra Esports, and it is in MLP Dota and John X5. Jonathan, welcome back. We're here for TI, so how the hell are you doing?
Doing great, Mike. It's been a while, and it's good to be here on the biggest stage of the year for our game, of course. This is going to be a fun match. Talon up against Tundra. Talon, drafting-wise, are cooking up extremely hard. This is not something I've seen them play in other third-party tournaments, the most recent one being Snow Rui.
Oh.
This is entirely different. Smoke breaks. Can he get
It certainly does. Ramsey's being chased down already, and Jokam's got him with the disruption, but do they have the proper setup? They do with the arrow from Akashi. Toss back on Ramses. He should be going down here, and this should be the official first blood of the road to the international for WS of all people.
Yeah, that's a very good pickup for our off-lane DK, having that strong start into the double bracer timing. And he did go for Fire Dragons, we heard our panel talk about. So he's going to be just sitting back and farming a little bit more to help with that laning phase is going to do wonders for him. And pretty big kill to find early on. Again, just getting that early activity out. The wards have not been spotted from Tundra though, so they should still have that forward vision for themselves as the lane goes on. But again, this is going to be fun. I mean, we've got the new tech coming out as well from Thompson, the mid NP that we've seen a lot of in other third-party tournaments. For me, most recently, I believe Execration's been doing this quite a fair bit in like Wallachia qualifiers as well. Lewis has been playing this a ton. Thompson, of course, probably been playing it on his pubs quite a fair bit as well. Should be a very, very interesting matchup against the Ricky. We heard the panel touch on that just a little bit. And this matchup doesn't really care about each other too much. The Ricky can play aggressive. He does have a little bit more agi bonus attacking non-hero units, so he can also somewhat delete the Ironwood tree. Although early on, it is still highly inflated. Doesn't give that much gold for how much it does in lane. So I'm keen to see how Mikado handles this. But as the levels go up, it shouldn't be too rough for the Ricky. Although, again, early on, this is definitely way more favorable for Thompson. Probably for the first 3 levels, or maybe even the first 4 levels, it's going to be pretty much in the NP's way.
Yeah, certainly this Ironwood trait makes it very, very hard to actually lane for Makoto, but we'll see how he does deal with it as the levels do go up. Of course, the side lanes, Jonathan, top lane, you've got Pure and Whitemon against WS and Jokam. What do you think about this? Because I believe Winter was saying he didn't really like the idea of a DK versus Morph matchup. Do you kind of agree with that sentiment? Do you like this laning stage from either side?
It's a very stable lane for WS. He's not going to be able to fully bully out Pure. Neither will Jokam by any means, and I think that's the one thing. Pure should still be able to have himself a relatively free time farming up, unless he overextends, but you probably aren't going to be looking to play too aggressive even with the Tusk on hand. You have drinking buddies for Whitemon as well here, so there is a way to kind of try to reposition your Morphling just a bit if there is some commitment later on. But it's going to boil down to a really strong farming lane. If Jokam can get the space to stack up without being contested by Whitemon, that's where WS can really start to shine later on.
Speaking of Whitemon, he's taking a fair bit of damage on his way out. In fact, it seems like WS might actually be able to secure. Do they have enough? They do. Jokam will get it with the Shadow Poison stacks, and it was only 2, but it was just enough. So another kill already going to the way of Talon. 2-0.
Yeah, great start for them so far. Again, this should still be a stable lane for Pure. That's a rather aggressive drinking buddy out from Whitemon. Great disruption to cut off. Maybe Pure looking to wave for him in. Otherwise, again, Pure still has a lot of sustain. First few levels for the Morphling, definitely not great, but once you can sustain through, should stabilize relatively well. That Vlad's build-up is still there as well for Pure if you want to kind of just hit the jungle, get some stats, and pad out, as we heard the panel talk about. Last lane, of course, here, Mike, down bot. You do have Akashi on that safe lane Mirana that we've seen quite a fair bit of popping out again in third-party tournaments, along with Ponyo on the Marcy. It's a lot of damage here, but there's also a lot coming out from Tundra. You don't have the best setup for the arrow. Dispose into arrows, not particularly amazing. The timing has to be perfect. This Mirana core, though, is rather fascinating because it's a really great buff to a lot of right-click carries with a Solar Flare, and that's something that can definitely enable this carry from the offlane for WS in this game.
That certainly can. So far, in fact, jump in from Ponyo just for a moment, but he misses the rebound, so not able to really set up onto Ramses. Of course, this bottom lane does seem like it's going to be a little bit annoying here for the side of Talon. I say that, I suppose you've got plenty of ways of dealing with the creep of Saksa thanks to the arrow of Akashi. And speaking of Saksa, he's currently being chased down by Ponyo, who's making life very hard now for the Ench, but he will be okay to back his way out. It seems like Ramses, for the time being, obviously just wants to secure his own farm. He's not too interested in trying to force any fights.
Yeah, it's, again, really hard to look for a burst play here as well for Akashi and Ponyo. Very sustainable lane. Just Enchantress, even without the overprotective Wisps, just the level 1 Nature's Tendons, you don't really have the burst damage to get anything done. Akashi is farming up quite fine, but Ramses isn't being shoved away from this lane either, so you are getting that scaling that you'd want in terms of EXP. Try to hit maybe a level 5 or just right into a stable 6, get some room out, stabilize this lane, get Saksa to perhaps start to look at mid, if possible. If he does get a good creep for himself, his camps are open. So we'll see if that's something that lines up to kind of try to snowball out from tops. And I feel like that's something the panel was touching on. It feels like both farm mids have to kind of make some plays. Maybe less pressure on Tundra with Ramses on something that can play make on Mars, but certainly for someone like Mikado, if you slow this guy's game down on Ricky with a rotation out from Saksa, that's where things can kind of go wonky. Like, you've got a Mirana that needs to farm, you've got a DK that's definitely going to need to farm, and a Ricky that needs tempo. One little thing going out of order here for Talon can just ruin this game for them.
As props to Makoto as well, while we're speaking about him. Johnny's having a pretty decent time in that mid lane matchup, not too threatened by Thompson quite yet. In fact, he's ahead of CS just barely, so even though that Treant's being ultra annoying, it seems like Makoto has been able to just kind of abuse the Blink Strike to secure CS here in the mid lane, and really hasn't slowed down too much in terms of farmers. Top lane now, Pure, and Whitemon going to chase down WS, waveform forward. WS going to try and just tank through it, gets the Dragon Breath off, and will actually be able to back his way out as now Jokam's trying to move in. On a Pure they'll go. Whitemon taking a fair bit of damage with these Shadow Poison stacks. Now 5 completed on Whitemon, and that'll be enough. Jokam able to secure another kill.
Yeah, they're just working this top lane so well. Again, the Tusk wants to be able to play forward, wants to be that frontliner to enable some aggressive plays with Morphling, but in these prolonged fights, it takes so long to commit onto WS with a double bracer. This guy's sitting at 1.2k HP with a wand on top at level 4. You're not going to look for a physical kill on that DK anytime soon, and that's pretty much all you have here, especially with the drinking buddies. You don't really have the nuking damage yet from Pure to try to melt him down. So WS is going to be perfectly fine, get some regen in lane, and even though the kills are going onto Jokam, this is still important for the Shadow Demon to find. Something like a fast blink, fast Aether Lens, maybe even an Ags Rush can make all the difference in this kind of game. So you really don't mind that too much.
Thankfully for Akashi, that spear did not land from Ramses. Just no tree right behind the Mirana. It will be okay, no stun lock there, but it does seem like Tundra are slowly starting to take over this bottom lane. I say that though, Akashi's still having the time of his life when it comes to the CS department, so it really does feel like all the lanes are actually quite even right now between both these sides.
And it is. I think the one big concern for Ramses is that you can't really stop a Mirana farming. Sure, you're not threatened by Marcy whatsoever. There's no aggressive plays for Ponyo to try to set up for that can line into a feasible kill, but you just can't put your body in front of Mirana and stop her from farming. She has the arrow for the siege creep, she has the arrow for the Enchantress creep. It's just not an easy time to try to maximize this lane from Tundra. They are blocking off Ponyo from trying to snipe away the Wisdom Rune. You are still getting movement across from Mikado though.
Oh, it's cheeky. Makoto, he's going to try for it, but no, Sux has got it. Fast fingers here from the Ench. Meanwhile, bottom lane, of course, Jokam was able to secure his own Wisdom Rune, so no double Wisdom Rune here for Talon. Top lane, though, WS now being chased down, and Thompson does TP in. This should be enough damage here for WS, and they do get it. Very nice rotation from Thompson. First one of the game, but it certainly already pays off.
Yeah, that's what we need to see here from the NP. Connections into any of the lanes to find a kill, relieve some of this pressure coming out on Pure, and finally get that payoff on killing off WS as well. Slowing down the tempo of that DK into his level 6. You've got the EXP advantage for Pure. He's going to have his 6 faster. You're stalled out from WS and just sitting, camping a lane, getting some free siege for yourself. That does leave Ramses alone here, though. Good spear.
He'll be just fine. Sux is actually just taking over the mid lane now, as Thompson obviously made that rotation earlier, so just wants to get that bit of XP for his Ench. Makoto, he hasn't really moved too much. The Riki is still just casually farming that mid lane. More than happily now looking for a shield rune as well, but it looks like it probably does get denied, and it does. For a guy that hasn't played Pro Dota for a year, Jonathan Sux still seems to be on top of the game.
And he is. Micro's still on point. Again, bot lane not really the most aggressive, but he was managed to get that spacing for Ramses to still soak up safely. A little bit of a chase on Whitemon.
See if they can find an easy pick-off. I say easy, Whitemon gonna be alright, just casually walks away, and Makoto doesn't really see the opening he was looking for. No real great lockdown to try and follow up with. And in the meantime, of course, Thompson just continuously just leaving the lane, just going into the jungle, just keeping that farm going, and it's kind of the scary thing against this Prophet, right? You just never know when he's going to show up in a lane and just take you down. He's just going to go quiet for now. Tundra, I think, more than happy with the way this game one's going so far.
Certainly so. You're still getting that farm up for Pure and Thompson. And both of their lanes went relatively well. It was really only the support suffering up top here on the side of Tundra. You've got this great starting point, especially as you approach the Maelstrom into probably the Bleaking here for Thompson. Get some control, get that jump in. You're getting your EXP lined up as well. Even Whitemon's about to hit level 6 at this point, soaking quite nicely on mid. We haven't really seen that much movement out from Mikado. And that's one thing to be a little bit concerned about as well for Ricky. He is working onto the defusal. At that point, the rotation should be simpler. Up top, though,
I'm going to try and make a move in here. Ponyo and Akashi trying to go onto Whitemon. Whitemon with the snowball. Going to be able to just go towards the right and does survive a little bit longer as now Pure's going to jump in. But a nice arena from Ramsey showing up the last second. Still, they will lose Pure. Akashi, though, may go down as a follow-up, though. Here comes Makoto now, trying to help out. Thompson's the target. Akashi's still running. He's actually all right. He's out of there. Jokam setting up a disruption. The arrow to follow up, and they've got another. Oh, Talon. 4-for-1 trade. That is a very nice deal if you are a Talon fan.
Yeah, great movement across the gate there from Akashi. And they finally get their own punishment going. They find Thompson and Pure. The arena looks super clean from Ramses. Just not enough damage coming in there to really take care of things with that aggressive jump forward, breaking the position up of Tundra first. Great read out from Ponyo and Akashi in that flank. And you're seeing the effect of that solar flare even without items. The right-click damage starts to hurt. You're pumping out a lot of DPS just with a solar flare alone. You don't need that much items to play around as long as that spell is up here for Talon. And already putting themselves in a good position. 72, less than 1k lead. You are still keeping up with Thompson and Pure. Again, they have had spectacular lanes outside of those stats. But you are finding that tempo for Talon early on. They still have these massive stacks built up by Jokam as well because of all the action keeping them tied in up top. Whitemon's not being able to really scout around, although he is going for a flank play here down bot.
They are trying. It seems like the movement's been read here by Talon, though. They do retreat immediately, realizing there's just too many heroes missing off the map. I believe Q has actually left the tier 1 token on the floor there, so just towards the south of that tier 1 bottom tower. They'll jump in. They have done Saxa first, so they will burst down him. Ponyo to secure the kill. Now, the fight continues with the arena being dropped down. They'll follow up onto Ponyo. A 1-for-1. Make that a 2-for-1, in fact, the way of Tundra. They do also pick up Jokam, now onto WS, but he's a tanky boy. They're going to give it a crack. WS just manning up. Here comes Makoto with the smoke screen, trying to set up on Thompson. Thompson in trouble. They take him down. The Prophet is no longer. Ramses, though, chasing down Makoto, gets the follow-up kill onto the Riki. Is now Pure, still going up to Ponyo, trying to find more. He might just have him. The spear from a mile away from Ramses locks down Ponyo. Oh no, Akashi they'll go, but he's gone too far. Pure wants to get the hell out of there. And in fact, they'll stick around for the bottom tier 1 tower. But that team fight, it looks like it goes in favor of the side of Tundra, especially considering we had the buyback from Ponyo. In fact, WS, not out of the woods yet either. The chase is on. Pure, he'll find him. Dragonform will wear off. The Sprout will block his way in. WS just not looking very tanky when you are getting taken down by 4 heroes. So Tundra able to secure even more as now Makoto shows back up down to this bottom lane. There is a sentry, but he's out of range for now. He'll jump in. He'll try for Ramsey. So this is a very, very scary attempt. He will blink away. Akashi helping out Makoto. He'll run out of range, so they will stun him up, but he's all right. There's still Tundra. It's very clear they smell blood in the water and they want more. Though Pure looking to back off. Here comes Makoto. Jumps in with the silence. The arrow, though, not landing. The tag team from Whitemon. Oh my, the drinking buddies. He dragged him out of the range of the arrow.
He does, and a lot of things going wrong there for Talon. The buyback on Ponyo earlier on, just not amounting to much. Pure morphing into Ricky, getting the smoke screen on top. Mikado jumps in, but Ponyo's TP back.
Want to try to play, they feel like they're strong, and they were. But that Gambit just falls flat on its face with how they positioned themselves on Tundra. Again, they split up that fight really nicely. The Arena managed to block off that re-engage from Talon early on. And then just this Morphling, if you don't manage to hold Pure down, he shifts into the Ricky. You have to deal with Smokescreen as well. And you've got like 2 big melee cores that want to jump in, at the very least for the DK without Dragon Form, and the Marcy even with her Unleash not going to enjoy that either. And the BKB is a pipe dream right now for Ponyo.
Mid lane, Whitemon has been caught. That'll be Makoto securing a kill here on the Ricky. 3rd one of the game for himself. We'll find a nice invis rune here as Ponyo will pick that one up. They could potentially look at Saxa, but it doesn't seem like they want to really dive tier 1 towers yet. I think that might be the thing that's really kind of intimidating Talon as well right now, is the fact that mid tier 1 and the bottom tier 1 tower just went down so quickly to the draft of Tundra. But that is one thing you really have to worry about when you are up against an Ench Nature's Prophet, is your towers are just going to melt, even if they're not there to do it themselves.
No, doesn't take that much time at all. I do like the itemization coming out here as well from Pure. He had, again, a fantastic lane phase. He's just doubling down with Midas. Already has the Dragonlance. Going for the Hurricane Pike, just needing some distance, some way to jump out of Smokescreen. Once you take care of that, you don't have too much to be scared of here on Pure, unless you get a good jump here from WS. He did have the Blink queued up earlier, did opt for the Armlet first to try to scale up. So again, trying to play more of a carry role from the off lane here, and just get some damage, get some quick farm going, clear out those camps. Tundra, for their part, starting to clump around this focal point on Pure. Has the stats, just front line, has a lot of spare agi to shift into, strength. It's not the easiest to burst, especially since you didn't go for Frost Dragon whatsoever. You get a catch on Ponyo.
A nice easy pick off here for the boys of Tundra. Ramses will go ahead and secure his 5th kill of the game now. That's one of the things, again, if you are just a lonely support, you are going to get caught very, very easily. Cheeky little scan out from Tundra as well. Does scan out Akashi on the Mirana. He is just continuously running south to the safer parts of that jungle. And you do have Pure and Saxa around, though chances are they probably won't be able to lock down the Mirana. So Talon, they have slowed down the game quite a bit, haven't they, John? They're not really grouping up and fighting at all. Seems like they're more than happy to just secure a bit more farm on their end of things. Where it really is Tundra, the ones being quite aggressive on the map.
Yeah,
In fact, here we go again. Makoto, a beautiful spear, but no, it doesn't land. Still the Arena, and the Gleipnir will do the job. Makoto with the silence helping out in terms of surviving, but not as long as the disruption. It does save his life, but they do take him down. Whitemon takes care of it. They'll lose Thompson, but they'll lose Whitemon on top. In fact, now Tundra, they may have gone too far. Ramses, he'll be the one to go down. Pure will move in, trying for Akashi's life, and Akashi, he does die, but now can Pure get out? Well, the answer is yes. In fact, he's jumping in. He wants more, but he'll have to leave the area. I believe that was a 3-for-3 trade. And it was, in favor of who it looks like Talon. In fact, Saxa goes down. WS will find another.
Yeah, gets the blink out, manages to burst down that Ench. Was on very low HP anyhow. The side of Talon, I mean, outside of that movement, that fight that just happened, that was a response fight to Tundra, of course, playing aggressively, getting that jump forward. I think that
Makoto?
Oh,
he's found Pure. He has found Pure. That's what you love to see. If you're a Ricky carry or a Ricky core rather, and Pure just a second too late to react, sadly, and he does go down.
and you have to be worried about getting focused down, of course, by the Ricky. You still have to worry about smoke screen if you're not able to scout out the Ricky. They have planted a lot of wards. They're playing away from that bot area again. That fight worked out disastrously for Talon. So they're playing in an area they haven't touched in a while. They've got the sentry coverage for themselves. There's still a tier 1 to work through, but they've got space to get that done. And this time around, it was Tundra again in that last fight that got a little bit keen on just shoving in very deep onto that tier 2, trying to play, not quite getting the connections out from Ramses. I think if you manage to nail that initiation onto Mikado first before he pops the smoke screen in the arena, like just that first spear connecting to a tree, you'd have a very different outcome there for Tundra. But because the smoke screen comes in, it stalls for time. It allows Jokam and everyone else to kind of TP in, get some disruption saves, and give WS this prolonged fight that the DK will enjoy, especially if he's not being focused down. And it does even out the game, 16-11. Still a 2k lead for Tundra. You're still getting that split farm out from Thompson, getting some good split push action going, of course.
Lane. Gleipnir doesn't actually clip onto Akashi. He'll be able to leap out of range. Now Akashi picking up his own Gleipnir, but it is all too late. The bottom tier 2 tower is now officially down. Pure able to secure that very easily. Again, Tundra, you know, as much as you like to look at the kill score and think maybe the side of Talon are doing pretty good, it seems like Tundra are in complete control of this game 1. At least with their map movements. Here we go though, Ramses getting jumped mid lane. They'll try to burst down the Mars, but the snowball, Whitemon unable to save. So now Whitemon needs to run. They've got some help incoming, but it's not coming fast enough. So Whitemon should go down as now Saksa also being caught out by WS. It could be a third target here for the side of Talon, and they've got it. Never mind what I said, John. Map movements are one thing, but kills are another.
I mean, the map movement's to be expected from Tundra, right? You've got an NP, you should be able to work this map. You don't have the highest mobility heroes on Talon to respond. With split push, so you will find space for Thompson to take more aggressive farm, leaving conservative jungle out for Pure to find. You still have to be careful about the rest of your heroes. I do like that Tundra are clumping up this tree, like running their 2 supports with Ramses, trying to get these opportunities to get Thompson into play. But it doesn't feel like they're respecting this fully, although
Maybe spread out, but of course Ponyo is just going to be able to commit rebound and get away. Thompson sadly really didn't have the backup to lock him down. Now a 1k net worth lead, still the way of Tundra, but it is a much closer game, it feels like. Though Pure still very, very confidently farming that bottom area of the map, and again, it does feel like Tundra much more in control of this map for game 1 thus far. But at the very least, Talon keeping parity when it comes to the net worth department. As bottom lane, Tundra hoping someone gets baited into farming this bottom lane, but nobody's hanging